Hey guys, if you've been interested in woodworking, of course, and you're interested in a track saw, this may be the video for you. So today I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on this Wen Tracksaw. This particular one is a model CT1065. Before we get to that, I know a lot of people are like me and budget minded, and so they can't afford the most expensive tools out there, you know, Festa tool, dominoes, and saw stop table saws. I don't have that option, and so generally I try to, you know, buy what I can afford that, you know, does have good reviews, it's good quality. And so I feel like Wen is a pretty good brand. You know, it's not up there with top of the line, but it functions. Now, if you're a production shop, you're not going to be buying these, of course, but if you're the kind of a DIYer like myself, I think these are a good thing. And here's just a sample of the couple Wen tools that I have. If you're interested in those, or any videos on those or thoughts on those, just let me know in the comments. I can definitely do some videos on those. I've got a wood lathe chuck. This particular clamp is made to go with these tracks. These are actually Wen brand 123 blocks, and a finished nailer and a staple gun. Those work great. Now, of course, this saw does not come with its own tracks. You do have to buy those separate. And of course, Wen makes their own tracks. But the one I chose to go with, solely based off of reviews, you know, I'd seen a few reviews that said maybe the Wen tracks were a little too slick when on the surface or whatever. But anyway, when I bought this with my own money from Amazon, and it came highly recommended being paired with this PowerTech brand, and so I went ahead and opted to go with the 2-pack. So this extends. This particular one, that's 55 inches. And so if you double that, of course, that's 110 inches of track. So this 55 inch is the one I use primarily. You know, it'll cross cut a piece of plywood, no problem. But it does have the option to go to 110 inches, which I've done on plywood, you know, longer. As far as the saw itself, I'm going to say it's a good saw. I have seen other reviews that says it's a little underpowered, and compared to other circular saws, that's probably is true. But for what I bought it for, if you can see behind me, I make these American flags, and when I get to the ends are a little wild, and I'm basically just wanting something to flush those up. I've tried doing it with a router, and it's a little aggravating, to say the least, and this made it such a breeze. But anyway, this saw does have a anti-kickback feature, and I am not recommending anyone not use that, because it does make it to where you can't pull the saw back on yourself in the track. I do have it disabled just because, you know, I'm kind of aware of how that functions. But the thing I don't like about it, it can bind you up as you're pushing, and it kind of just makes it a hindrance. One thing I do like, though, is this little feature right here. You can see that twists in and out. And what that does, when you put that into this track, so that does make it to where you have to start back here. You can't put it in the middle. What that does, that actually locks you onto that track. So you're not going to be coming off of it and, you know, having wavy cuts. The next feature I want to say in this one is this right here. This, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. This first mark right here, what that is a scoring cut. So instead of going all the way through and causing all kinds of tear out and that kind of stuff, you would use this, dip the saw down, and run just across through here. It's going to make that scoring cut. Then you move it up there, and that's the full depth cut. That way you can finish it all the way out. And then the third option, what that allows you to do is it locks and allows you to change the blade. This saw also has a spot here for dust collector or just for this size, you know, a shop vac will hook to it. I would recommend, if you do that, maybe putting some duct tape on there or something, because there's really no way of holding it on there. In my opinion, the dust collection is not great. And another thing, in my opinion, on this saw that is not great is this miter gauge, because I have read in other reviews, 1x731 Woodworks, and he pointed out that once you set this thing out to 45, there's some deflection in here, and it's going to cause you a wavy cut. And I understand that would be a turn off, but for me, 99.9% of the time, I'm cutting this thing at 90 degrees because I'm just looking to get a straight edge. Like I said, with the flags was my primary reason, but I do it a lot on just cross cuts, and 90 degrees is pretty much where I keep it. Okay, so I've got this set up to make a cut for you, just to show you how it works. Normally, my wife usually assists me in the shop, and so she would help me be holding this, but she's actually working the camera today, so I thank her for that. So this is gonna probably be a couple cuts, so I can cut it and she can film, and I can do it without actually. Guys, we've made the cut here, and as you can see, now this is melamine. It's just kind of a scrap piece I've had laying around, but you can see what kind of cut that makes, and especially being on melamine, you know, that's just basically just particle board, or however you want to call it, pressed sawdust. But you can see there's a tiny little bit of tear, but I found out on this melamine stuff, that's just inevitable. It chips like crazy. And kind of along the bottom too, really no splintering whatsoever. Okay, so as final thoughts on this saw, I would definitely give this thing a thumbs up, recommended, and if it was a number, it'd probably be something like an 8 out of 10. Not the top of the line, of course, like I said, but you're not paying top of the line. You're not paying $800 for you know, a higher end name brand. If there were a couple things I could complain about, this tool here, as you can see, there's an Allen wrench on here to help you take the blade off. It's just not in a convenient spot, and you know, that can be alleviated by taking it out. But one thing it'll do, as you're pulling along, it can tend to hang up on your track here, as well as the cord. That's kind of just kind of an annoyance. That would be with any saw, really, but it just tends to get stuck down in these grooves, and you have to pull them out. And then like I said, the deflection in the miter slot, but really for me, that's kind of a non-issue, just because I don't really use that feature on this saw. Like I said, primarily this for me is just a straight cut, and I don't even attempt to fool with the miters. One thing, like I said, I do recommend, you know, I've seen a lot of these guys, they're cutting on, especially if you're cutting on melamine, that is very slick, so you would definitely want to clamp that track down. And these clamps are made just for that, and they actually lock right into that slot right there. You push it down back there and just clamp it down. Those are also a Wen brand. But yeah, if you're interested in a track saw and you're on a budget like me, maybe check out the Wen. For me, it's powerful enough, accurate enough, and a good price. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Hope it gave you some insight to what you're looking at. And as always, I thank you for liking and subscribing. Throw me a comment down. Like I said, if you're interested in any of these other tools, you want to see a review video. But until next time, I'll see you.